Hello everyone, welcome to another video on Gen AI, right? Especially this video will be talking about the recent rollout from Microsoft GitHub Copilot, which is agent mode in GitHub Copilot, right? So this video, I think you need prerequisite knowledge on GitHub Copilot. If you have not started using it, I would say go ahead and start using it. And if you are not aware of this, I think you need to watch that video for GitHub Copilot or get an understanding of that and then come back and watch this video. Okay. So as you know, recently there has been lots of developments for agents, right? AI agents, and basically how one agent basically can perform or complete one autonomous task, right? Microsoft has been basically doing a very good job in rolling out new features for GitHub Copilot where all the developer community, right, they started using it heavily and most of the organization are also adopting this. And it started with Copilot chart, then now edit feature, and finally we got agent, which would, I would say it would be a game changer for all the developers, those who are using GitHub Copilot, right? So if you see here, these are the documentations from VS Code, official documentations where they have introduced GitHub Copilot Agent Mode, right? And you might not get this in your VS Code, which you are already using it. For few of them, it might be rolled out, but few of them you might not get it. So I would recommend, if you are not seeing the Agent Mode, install VS Code Insider, and you should be on the latest extension. Basically, GitHub Copilot extension, you should have the latest one. Then you should be able to see this agent mode. So let's go ahead and see what is this agent. And there is something else which is all users and supports for MCP, right? So MCP is again a game changing changer, I would say, where due to this, right, the agentic framework, building agentic framework and all becomes easier, which will have a demo on that, and maybe I'll come up with a dedicated demo for different MCP servers that are available. But this video will first talk about agents, GitHub Copilot agent, and then quickly have a demonstration on MCP server, right? So if you see this Copilot ask, edit, and agent, these three mode I am getting it, right? And then which model I want to use. So ask is nothing but you have already Copilot chart. Let's say we can ask how to basically I want to, or let's say create a Spring Boot project for web application. Let's give something, right? Anything. Let's say if you're a Java developer and if you're using Spring, how you basically get that info from Copilot chat. You can ask anything, right? Any prompt. So it is asking me to create a workspace and all of that, and then that is how it proceeds, right? Similarly, let's say if I say create a workspace, then it will give me all of that next command and everything. And then we can proceed further, what I have to execute and all. But this chart is not going to help you because I am not in a workspace, so it is not able to figure it out, right? So let me click on this and we'll say create a workspace here. Let's go back, select this folder and proceed. And this one is also doing, if you see, right, even Copilot chart, or if I go to edit mode, right, even it started creating. Chart is also intelligent, it created a Spring web app, and it has done all of that steps. Right, if you see main, Java, controllers, everything. Now, can I ask a question, let's say create, or basically this is something ask feature which has all of that, but it is not agentic mode, right? I'll say run the project. Let's see what it does, right? When I say run the project, as you see, this is in ask mode, right? To run a Spring Boot project, you have few options. Using Maven, you build it, and then finally you run the project using Spring Boot Run or whatever it is. But there is a limitations where it is not even able to perform few of the tasks, where it has to go beyond this VS Code file system or something, right? It has to, let's say, execute any system call, which can be a Maven build, terminal call, or something else. So ask and edit, let me skip this. If I go back to edit mode, if I want to edit multiple files at a time, I can bring this to this working set, right? Let's say multiple things, I can bring it here, and then I can give one prompt. Can you optimize this code or something like that? The moment if you give something, right, can you optimize this code or anything, and whatever the files you have in the working set in edit mode, it will be able to go ahead and edit all those files. The way you see here, right, in VS Code, it opened those files and it started editing all of them. When I said, can you optimize this code, it removed all the getter setters, and then it started basically using Lombok. And if I go back to controller, again, it is basically instead of home or something, it created a health endpoint. I did not say anything specific, just for demonstration I did that, and it was able to edit the file. Not only this, you can add all the files and it will be able to edit this. So this feature has been there since long, but now there is something new, which is basically agent mode. Let's switch to agent mode and see what all we can do. All right. So now let's say I have this project. I'll just say add one TimeLeaf template to display a product page with all the details of some electronics product. You can choose mobiles and then run the Spring Boot project. Let's give this command and then see what this agent is able to do for me, right? If you see, first I will search for any existing templates and configuration in this particular code base. That's what it said. Then it started creating a product domain model, which was missing, right? Because it has to display something. Then it created the product service class, which is okay. So there are few things you might be thinking, even in edit mode, it was able to do it and all of that. Still, few things it can create and do. But let's see what extra excuse me, what extra it can do. Let's see. And now it started creating the home controller. Now I'll create the TimeLeaf template for the product page. Okay. This is where the agent mode is. Now you see, right, continue to iterate. What it says, Copilot has been working on this problem. There are something, right? I see the template directory might be listed as a file rather than a directory. Let me check resource directory structure and all of that. And then there is agent, something it tried, and it says working on this problem while it can continue to iterate. Let's continue. So it is reading the resource directory, resources, and then it said, let's create the template directory itself, okay? And this something run command, some external command or something, right? Which was missing earlier. And this is where in agent mode, it whatever exactly you used to do previously, now it started opening the terminal here. You can see here, right? It opened the terminal, then it execute the mkdir command, and then it can proceed. But some of the other issues are there here, right? If you see, it failed with something. But it says the template directory has been created because it already exists, so no need to do that. Again, let's continue because it figured it out that it is there. Okay. Now it is trying to remove something. So if you see here, based on this error, it was able to figure it out, and then it corrected what next corrective action it has to do, and it is doing that particular operation. And it is keep on working like one agent or one software developer, right? The way a software developer works on a day-to-day basis, it is also working in the similar fashion. Let's continue again. It did not work. Again, some other issue. I noticed there was an issue, and then again it is saying, let's go to that particular folder itself. Earlier it was in Spring AI itself, right? But what is the folder structure? It was Spring Web App. Then it says successfully change the project directory to Spring Web App, and then finally, do you want to continue? So MVN is not installed in my system. That's the reason MVN is not going to work over here. So it might suggest basically, can you go ahead and install MVN and all of that, right? And installing MVN also it can try, but basically as because those are prerequisite steps, I should have done that, and which was missing, right? So this is something in agent mode, it can go ahead and do all of that. So you should have some permission where as long as from your terminal, right, you have given all the permission, like installing other products or new installations for, let's say, Maven, Gradle and all of that, right, you might need to allow, and it will fail from here. So those things, if everything is set up and if you are doing a particular task, right, agent mode is going to help you. Like previously, if there are any issues, you applied some changes, it fails, what did you do? You copy that, put it again, and then all of that is not required anymore now. You just give the prompt and wait for it. Recursively, iteratively, the agent is going to work on it and finally come up with one outcome. With this, right, lots of developers, it is going to be helpful for all the developers. It is going to reduce the turnaround time, right, to build anything, any applications or any feature you are working on. Okay. So this is all about the agent, and you can select multiple different model over here, right? Manage model and all. I have selected Cloud 3.5 Sonnet now. So let's quickly talk about the MCP server, right? Which I have already basically set up something. So it's very easy. Now there is one agent. Let me switch to agent mode here. And if you see, there are different options where how you can basically install any MCP server. What is MCP server? Maybe I'll come up with a separate video and talk about this in detail. But MCP is something model context protocol where you can connect with different database or different resources or maybe different, let's say, a common language where the LLM will understand and it will be able to basically perform some or the other task, right? So in this example, we are going to see how can we query from a database using LLM itself, right? Let's say in this example, it's Postgres, okay? And I have already installed something called as Model Context Protocol MCP server Postgres is already set up where I will be able to query things from the database in a natural language, right? And that is where MCP will help the agent to perform any of the tasks. Let's say, can you list all the tables in the database, right? But this is not going to work. This might give me the query or something because I am not using the MCP server here. Okay. Let's see. Let's wait what it does. But yeah, good thing is it figured it out, right? Even though I have not specified has query, I was thinking maybe it will just give me some query and it will not execute or invoke the MCP server, but already my MCP server is running, as you can see here. And intelligently it figured it out that it has to go, it is talking about tables and all, which means related to Postgres. And query is nothing but that MCP server, right, for Postgres, which is active. Let's see, continue. Okay, now if you see based on the query results, there is currently one table in your database, which is products table. Right now, let's ask. So what I was talking about is I was talking about this, where it will make sure that it will use the MCP server here to query the database. Can you give me all the details about products table? And if you see here, if I expand, it is able to figure out what I asked. I asked all the details about the product tables, right? Then you execute the query, okay? So here it is combination of agent plus your MCP server. Otherwise, it is not possible. And GitHub Copilot has come up with all the details, right? All the facilities. It is facilitating MCP server as well as agent, which is, I think in the market there are very few people they are providing this. I think Cloud Desktop was providing that, and now GitHub Copilot has integrated MCP as well as agent over here. If you see, it was able to intelligently figure out product name, description, price, product ID, everything. And just to show you, right, I have something table structure like this. If you see, this is my product table and I have some data as well here, right? Let me go back and ask, can you give me the data? I think it already provided all the details as well. Based on the previous query results, I can see the table currently contains 5 products, including phones, iPhone, Samsung Galaxy, Google Pixel, and all of that, right? Which I have all the detail. Let's ask about what is the price of iPhone. Sometimes it might fail if let's say um, the column name, or let's say think about product name, it's a camel case, but it will directly hit something in all the small caps. It might fail because I have noticed that, but most of the time, right, it is able to figure out. And if you expand the query, select product name, price from, I was talking about this N is capital, right? Camel case. Sometimes I have seen it will even use small case and then it will fail, but it will figure it out. It will learn itself. So based on the query results, the iPhone 14 is priced at $799 in the products table, which is exactly the case, right? If you see here. So this is how we can, so now Postgres has this MCP detail, and if you want to query anything, right, you no need to expose any API or anything from your database if it is read only, and the context is I will not be able to write anything as of now. Okay, I can set all of that. So just for security reason or anything, right? If it is a read only thing, we don't need to even expose any API and then query based on that. Directly you can provide the MCP server from Postgres. Similarly for other vendors also they will come up with this, and we will be able to use this from our LLM, and in agentic framework, right, we can do anything. Because as you see, most of the things are crowd operations and some business logic, right? So using this agent now, developer productivity will increase more, and we'll be able to basically save lots of time, for debugging or any other thing, because iteratively the agent, Copilot agent itself can figure out issues and sort out things. But make sure, as because it is going to do all the changes and everything, it is going to ask you for sure, but try to understand what it is doing. Otherwise, it will be difficult the moment you get some issues and then finally try to figure it out. I know there also agent is doing, but tomorrow if something is there and if you don't know anything, right, then it becomes a challenge. Okay. So that's all about today's video, and I'll come up with different videos in MCP server for most other, like today we saw for Postgres, tomorrow maybe uh, next, right, I'll come up with some other MCP server implementations and how we can use it for agentic framework. Okay, thanks for watching the video.